See, now, actually, the only problem I have with the podcast is everyone gets to see how I actually start the Jerry Let's Play episodes, like how I like physically am. So I'm always like, I like rear back, like, hello and welcome to the Jerry Podcast. We're here talking about video games, and Randy has another new camera.
I do.
We've literally gone through a different camera every time.
So, 3.
Because we hate our webcams. So we just
Well, no, it's not that we hate our webcams. It's the first one we tried was like, yeah, like I work, but not actually.
Yeah.
The second one we used was from fucking the Stone Age, but somehow worked.
Legitimately is like a 12-year-old webcam. Yeah.
And then we finally found the one we've been trying to find for like fucking a year.
Yeah. Which works way better. It's not perfect, but it works way better.
I've had the same Logitech webcam for 10 years now.
Yeah. The 920?
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, it's a good one. So the one that Randy's using now is the 922. So the 920 is one that we started off first, and it was like acting really bad. It was just like,
Real
it kept
bad.
dying for some reason. And then it had this whole problem of like, if it was in a USB 3 port, it wouldn't do anything. So like, it probably something wrong with that camera in particular. But anyway, welcome back to the Zerbraxi Podcast. We talk about games, topics, stuff, and more interesting things than you would ever find anywhere else on the internet.
Like, tune in next week to find out what is the stuff between your toenails.
Oh, I've always wondered. I really hope we don't talk about that.
Why?
Because that sounds gross.
It's probably amazing.
It's probably interesting and not needs to. So let's jump into the first stuff. Let's get out of the way, so to speak.
Wow, what are you throwing at me?
Unfortunately, so this is a bit late. We've all been pretty busy, and not sure if you have somehow don't know that there's a thing happening in the world that's kind of throwing people's lives amok, then holy crap, I need to find out where you're living, and I want to rent a room, because that would be incredible.
If you didn't know.
Perfect getaway.
About this demonetizing word.
Yeah. But anyway, so we've all been, stuff's been, whatever. And we were a little late, but here we're going to do basically like kind of like a month wrap-up podcast, essentially. So we have a lot to talk about. And a lot has happened, and a lot of games have come out, and a lot of big games have come out. So let's talk about them.
Ooh, shit.
Andrew, have you played anything
How's Final Fantasy
besides
14?
Final Fantasy 14?
My dudes, a new raid tier came out. I don't have a life.
That's fair. That is completely fair. I am a recovered raider, so I understand, but I get my little chip every 30 days that I don't raid that says, congratulations, you're not addicted anymore. And then every time that I get that chip, I'm like, but I could do it again.
They give me the chip, have me look at it, and then give it back.
Are you sure you want to do this, son? Yeah. Yeah, please take it back. I want to raid.
There you go.
Yeah. I will never own one of these.
By turning that in, though, I usually forfeit about 2 hours of sleep a night.
That's very true. Very true. So how is the new raid?
It's good and bad. It's there's some good things to it and bad things to it, but like for the most part, I enjoy this tier. I think it's pretty cool. There's some cool fights. Shiva's really good in some ways and bad in others.
Okay,
there's some
fair
mechanics that are like really, really interesting. Then there's mechanics that's like, why does this exist? So it's
Gotcha.
good. I like it. It's not my favorite tier, but it's a good one.
That's fair. How many? What are the? Is it just like? Is it a one boss raid? This one, or is it a? What are the bosses there?
This is a savage tier, so there's 4 bosses.
Okay.
You start with Ramu, and then there's Ifrit Garuda as a pair. You find them both at the same time.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
They have the Idol of Darkness, which is basically this. It's a small little thing that's like half the size of a person, and it controls about 10,000 fucking like paper cranes. It's
That's
pretty cool.
Awesome. That sounds awesome.
The fight was cool to prog, but like once we actually killed it and started doing reclears, like some people figured out some really brain dead strats, and it made the fight really simplistic.
That actually, I'm not sure if you saw this, but that actually happened to Classic WoW just recently, where they released the Zul'Gurub raid. There was an encounter, like a particular encounter type and a way of doing it, like the super hard mode of it, that never got cleared during vanilla, ever. And because obviously that raid has been out now for like 13, 14 years, people have found ways to like actually do it and really cheese it, and it died like within like an hour. of like the raid going
Damn,
live because it was like people they've had over a
People
decade
were
to figure
ready.
it out. But
Yeah.
it's like it's one of those things where like sometimes like working on a fight is more interesting than ever doing it again.
I've taken my
It does
slippers off.
happen.
Eh.
Interesting. And then the last one, Shiva.
Yeah, last one, Shiva. Shiva is actually a pretty good endgame fight. It's difficult. It's weird because healing this tier I think has been easier than it's been in a very long time. But some of the mechanics are a step up from what they've been.
Are you healing?
No, I'm tanking this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. What are you tanking on?
Paladin. I'm actually been playing pretty well. Been parsing pretty high. First 3 fights, my average is a 90.
Oh, nice. Very
So-
nice.
Yeah. Doing pretty well on that. It's hard to like. Shiva's pretty difficult. I still think the last expansion had some harder fights, more difficult fights. So I'm hoping this last year really steps it up. We're pretty close to being on farm status now, and we're going to go into the Ultimate Coil Bahamut soon.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna do Ultimate. It's gonna kick our ass.
I'm curious to see how that goes. I kind of want
Yeah.
like just like a weekly update skit from Andrew, just like how it's going.
I'll be streaming that, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Once we go into Ultimate.
Good.
So-
I'll be there then. I gotta give my $5 a month to someone. And David has been playing Black Desert, and I just can't support that shit.
It's funny. I'll see him live. I'll click on it and I'll watch it for like 2 minutes. I'm like, I don't know what I'm watching.
You look at Black Desert, you're like, oh, all right.
And I'm done.
This game looks great. Where's the content?
Yeah. Yep. It's good. I mean, yeah, that game's like technically revolving around PvP, I guess, mostly. But
Yeah.
It's not really though.
It's just not
but
my
it's
kinda-
It's a whole. I have a lot of gripes. I don't need to
Yeah.
go down that right now.
This is not my interest, I guess.
Yeah.
My hair
Awesome.
looks green.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. We're on a bit of a different setup this time around, so this is actually pretty exciting. Randy and I are in actually can like physically look at each other this time around. Normally we're literally on opposite ends of the
We can
room,
even touch
facing,
fingertips.
away from each other.
Hey. Social
Court,
distance.
6 feet. 6 feet.
Yeah, it's it. 3.5 feet.
It's fine. They're both tall, so if they're touching fingertips, that means they're at least 6 feet apart.
That's true.
That's
actually.
right. That's
true.
right.
Good point. All right. Well, outside Final Fantasy 14, there have been some big games that have come out in the last month. 2 of which came out on the exact same day at the end of March, which would be.
And took the internet over.
We were talking about this the last podcast about how ironic and funny and also exciting it is to watch the internet react to Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing New Horizons coming out on the same day. And it never got old. It never even died. It was like for like 3 weeks.
It's still going.
It's still been. It's like it won't end.
Did either of you see the animation thing that Julian shared in Discord with Isabel
Yes.
and Doom Guy?
Yes, I did.
It's fucking hilarious.
It is so good. And the Doom. By the way, I got to give a mad shout out to the Doom Eternal Twitter. Whoever runs that Twitter is amazing. So also when the Final Fantasy VII Remake came out,
That picture.
the picture, there's a
Oh.
picture, if you look it up, there's a picture of Doom Guy standing in front of like a giant hellspire holding the Crucible Blade in the exact same pose and scenario, like it's Cloud looking up at the Shinra building. They basically just like congratulations
It's
for, like, watching
fucking
or whatever.
awesome.
So they're great. They're great guys. But about the games themselves. So I'll talk quickly about Animal Crossing because I don't think either of you two are really big Animal Crossing people.
No,
right?
I'm not super into
I
it.
am actually.
Are you? So Animal Crossing
Yeah,
Horizons.
I have the GameCube version.
So de facto, it is definitely the best version of that series. Like de facto. The only thing that's really different that I've noticed that I don't like versus say like New Leaf is the fact that everything is like more hard edges as far as like the landscape goes instead of like the rounded edges. However, the trade-off to that is that you can now terraform your island at a certain point. So worthwhile trade to be completely honest. Besides that, though, it really is just better and more interesting, and there's a lot more to it in pretty much every way. The one downside is there's no froggy chair, which is just so sad. But
Can you make a chair out of strawberries though?
I think so. Yeah. There's no froggy chair. I'm gonna miss that froggy chair. I don't have much to say honestly. Besides that, it's addicting and it's great to just like literally every day. It's just like. So I don't play it nearly as much as other people, but I pretty much just hop on for like 15-20 minutes a day and just do my stuff. And it's like
Which is funny because that's like it's so weird to think about like the conversation of always like casual versus hardcore gamer, right? It's weird to see a game like Animal Crossing come out and
Have a
appeal
hardcore scene.
appeal so heavily to both scenes when people are like, well, there's nothing to do. It's like, well, then you've never played. I'm not personally into Animal Crossing, and I know there's plenty to fucking do.
Yeah,
you just gotta find it.
And it also like it opens up like sometimes. So there are things that won't open up until like literally because the game plays off real time. Obviously, there are things that won't open up until like 30 logins essentially. Like 30 days in, it'll be like, oh, by the way, here's a thing. Like it knows. It's like just when you're at that point of like, oh, I'm falling into the same routine this last week or whatever. Here's this new thing that like adds a whole extra thing to do every day, and you're like, oh, well, that's great. Like that's exactly what I wanted. It's like the extra new little bit. And then also something really cool about New Horizons. Actually, this is not to the game necessarily, but to its sales. I'm not sure if either of you have seen this. It just set a new record for digital sales.
I did not.
It is the most. It was like the most downloaded game ever, I think, like that. It just beat Black Ops 4. I think it was the one that held the previous record. It was like the most and
that's pretty insane.
A lot of it is demonetized, but like a lot of it is due to coronavirus. Like people are at home and they can't do anything.
We didn't get paid for this anyway, so
yeah, it's like, oh, I want to go out, I want to live life. Animal Crossing, what a great time! Honestly, what a great time for it to come out.
This virus really makes paying my mortgage hard. I'll take another one.
Yeah, right. But it's just funny. It's like one of those weird like blessings to a curse, like that silver lining of just like a bad thing is happening in the world, and it actually has benefited Animal Crossing in a way. To be fair, it's really funny.
I just like I've always liked this about Animal Crossing, whether I can get into it or not. It's funny to watch my wife Tanya play it, and like she'll sit there for sometimes 6 to 8 hours playing Animal Crossing, and a lot of the time it's almost like it's exactly like watching someone in real life. You watch her. I would literally watch her go to the store, buy stuff, go fishing, go to the town hall and pay some fucking bill, travel to another person's island, go catch some fucking tarantulas because they're worth a lot, and then you'd fucking die. Yeah. But it's like, it's weird to see people like that and then see people who can get that same satisfaction from Animal Crossing play it like you for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Get on, do your thing, and be like, all right, I'm satisfied.
It's funny, too, because it's almost like anybody who's ever played an MMO will get it. Because every time, too, if you're watching somebody play Animal Crossing, it looks like they're doing the same thing every day.
Looks like they're doing dailies.
Yeah, and you're just, exactly. I literally refer to them as my dailies. Like, oh, I gotta hop on Animal Crossing and do my dailies. But yeah, it's like...
do a daily. He died.
Oh, that's true. That did happen.
Oh, now I'm sad.
You were good, son. You were good. You were the best. That is sad.
You know, you want to be real sad? You make your father proud.
You're becoming more like your father.
Thanks, Randy. I hope not. I hope I'm not. Anyway, yeah. So like,
it's tell John that quote.
You.
Ooh.
I should totally just send him a Snapchat video of that. You know, John, you're becoming more like your father. But anyway, so yeah, so like when you watch someone play Animal Crossing, it's just this weird. It's really weird, and it's kind of that joke, right, where people like sell someone on Animal Crossing, and it's really weird.
It's life.
It's really weird to explain it, and then you play it, and it's what it is. It's a beautiful masterpiece of like a IV drip game design. It knows exactly what to give you and when to give it to you. Yeah, that was my dark way of explaining it because I don't know how else. That was my cynical way of explaining it. But think about it. It really does just give you just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. It knows exactly how to get like that little bit of dopamine in your body, and then you just live it. But it's not even just dopamine, because then it's like, just like in real life, paying off your taxes isn't more, or paying off your mortgage doesn't just give you dopamine. I'm going to go down this, sorry. It gives you all this other stuff that's actually not addictive, and then you play Animal Crossing and you get those same reactions, and you're like, holy shit, this is bigger. It's weird. It's really, really weird, but it's awesome. That's Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's the best in the series. You should totally play it. Anyway,
sold.
Yeah, the other game that came out that day was Doom Eternal. And I did a video on it, which you should totally check out if you haven't seen it on my channel. And I made a very bold claim, which is I think it is already a Game of the Decade contender.
Yep.
And I still, after a month, firmly stand by that. I still look back and think back, and I've heard some people say that they actually think the original Doom 2016 was better. As a whole package, I have to disagree heavily. This is a better game in so many ways. It's insane. And even the things that it does slightly worse than 2016, the things that they're so like if you were to weigh it out, the gains to the down or the pros to the cons or whatever, like the pros outweigh it astronomically. It is an adrenaline filled like it is the most insane, intense, great feeling shooter experience I have had probably since Overwatch, of like a shooter that felt good to play.
Is it my turn yet?
I'm waiting for you to pitch in.
Holy fuck, that game's amazing. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Like, so it is not only probably crept into my top 10 favorite games of all time, it is arguably, and I will put that claim out here, whether it stands, it is probably the best first-person shooter I've ever played in my life. I told Chaz this. I literally beat Doom, right? I beat Doom Eternal, and it was on like a Monday. I beat it at I got home from work and I beat it at like 6 o'clock. So I was like, okay, I beat Doom. I'm going to take a breather because I literally went on like a 3-day binge and played nothing but Doom. And I went on COD. I was just playing COD or whatever, and I couldn't. It was so slow and sluggish, and the standard has been set by Bethesda. Well, not by Bethesda, by id Software. Yeah. And if any other company wants a successful shooter, especially in the next 10 years, you need to look at Doom.
Yeah.
Period.
The epitome of that game is game feel. That's like the best thing I can ever describe.
Everything
feels visceral, brutal, like satisfying, and even the stuff that's like the RPG elements that it has, like the upgrades or whatever, aren't nearly as like the exciting part of the game. It's just everything you do feels so intense. Even when you upgrade your ship, like you upgrade your ship and you can like unlock new things for it, like extra life or extra whatever, and like there's these like massive canisters that you put into this thing, and just the way you put it, it's like he lifts this giant thing up that's like his size, and it's like the click. And even just that, like every sound effect feels so hit. When you rip a demon apart, you feel it. Like there were times I genuinely was like sitting up, like aggressive, like grunting. Like I never do that, and I was seriously getting that feeling. It's insane.
Like the attention to detail, the optimization of the game is bar none to anything that's been released this year. I will argue there's no game that's been released this year so far that is as optimized and as perfectly executed as Doom. However, I do have one gripe with Doom that did come up on Twitter yesterday or the day before. So have you heard about the Mick Gordon versus Bethesda controversy right now? So if you notice, you actually brought it up in your video. You said the soundtrack felt off.
Yeah, at times.
Mick Gordon didn't mix it. They mixed it without him. And he didn't know.
Oh.
So that's why the soundtrack at times...
Yeah.
Because I do think this soundtrack is really good. I like the first one better.
Yeah.
But I also like it. My thing is it's musical preference. I like the first games, the first reboot soundtrack is so much heavier.
It's also catchier. Like the biggest thing between the two is this one's more atmospheric and the Doom 2016 is more like classic retro game. Like
but
really
basically Mick Gordon came out and replied to someone on Twitter who was talking about the soundtrack didn't sound as good and was basically calling out Mick Gordon, and Mick Gordon basically said, yeah, except I didn't have a fucking hand in mixing the soundtrack. They didn't give me the chance. He basically gave them the rough cut. They mixed it and put it in the game.
Weird.
Which is funny. Why wouldn't you let the dude who won unanimously the 2016 soundtrack of the year.
He performed at the VGAs.
Yeah.
Because of the Doom soundtrack.
And he mixed it, mastered it, recorded it, everything.
Even there's a new thing, Andrew, I'm not sure if you've seen this, but one of the new cool things he did with Doom Eternal is there's a thing he calls a metal choir.
I've watched the documentary on it, actually.
Yeah, and what a creative thing to put in that game, and it owns.
Knows
what he's doing.
Not only as a video game composer, as a musician, he's insane.
He knows what he's doing. To be fair, no one ever would have said the Killer Instinct soundtrack could have been good without the original composers, and yet the new Killer Instinct, I think it was 2013 or whatever, that Mick Gordon did, all of those songs are insane.
Fucking incredible.
They're incredible. He owns it. He really does. Yeah, that's a shame. That is a real shame.
But I just...
So if you get a chance, though, Andrew, if you like if you want to get a chance to play, seriously, it's one of the best shooters I've ever played in my life.
No, I believe you. I'm
It's
going
insane.
to play it.
Yeah, it is insane. And it's
So you have to understand. I want to play all these games, and I will soon.
I get it.
But hey, I've sold myself.
I'll be honest, there's a part of me that actually, because I actually made the conscious decision to stop playing MMOs like a couple months ago because I was like, oh, you know what? There is so much that I haven't played in the last.
Did you know
couple
how
years.
much time I think you lost playing new games last year just logging into Guild Wars randomly?
Yeah, or the thing is, I was just leveling in Final Fantasy with Andrew, and I actually at one point was talking to Quinn on Discord while I was leveling and was like, I need to not do this. Like I was watching raids and raid tiers. I was like, I know what is going to happen. I shouldn't do this. And he was just like, yeah, you have no self-control. So I was like, I know, that's my problem. And I'm talking to like Brandon or whatever. I'm like, I don't let me do this because I don't want to do that. Like this is my opportunity. I'm not sold into any MMO right now. Please just let me play some games.
Let me have my life.
So I had to make this quick.
We have a physical range spot open.
I do have a bard that's almost
Stop. Fucking stop. I can't yell at Andrew because he's like,
yeah, machinist looks pretty
on the
good
other
too,
side of the country, but
so.
stop.
Anyway, but yeah. So that's. Do you have anything else to say on Doom Eternal?
It's so good. It's seriously so good.
So the other real big game that happened, big new game that came out. So there's Trials of Mana, which I've been playing right now. There will be a review for that coming out soon. That's been fun. What's that?
Is it worth playing? It looks cool.
Yeah, so far I could give like a.
Andrew, I'm going to sell you on it, and I'm going to cut Chaz off again because it's what I do.
No, do it up.
I'm going to sell you on it right now. Okay. Turtle chicken.
Okay. So hold on. So this game has so Trials of Mana is a remake of a game that we never got in the West until just recently, which is Seiken Densetsu 3 or Secret of Mana 2, whichever you know it as. You don't get an airship in this game like most RPGs. You get a boat, and that boat is a giant fat chicken who has a turtle shell on with a flag on the top and diving goggles, and he swims through the ocean for you. It's the best thing in the world.
Chicken turtle.
Yeah. Except imagine the chicken under the shell. What was this other thing you sent us in Animal Crossing?
Oh, so that's a clip of someone who's... You can watch the clip real quick. So someone was gathering lots of bugs, and they were going to turn them in all at the same time. Their entire island is covered.
What the fuck?
That is some mad popping.
Yeah. I think they said it took them 9 trips, and they made 3.8 million bells.
Holy fuck.
Wow. That's insane.
That's commitment.
I just play turnips and make more money.
It's the stock market, basically.
Yeah.
But think of having 1 million bells as your seed money for turnips.
That is true. Yeah, so anyway, so Trials of Mana,
it looks fun.
It's way more, so it's very clearly based off of a game that came out in 95.
Yeah.
In some ways. And
95, really?
95. It was like
that was like the boom of the SNES. Why would you not release it in the West?
Well, we didn't get, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Because
I think they just had too many things, and it was just not one of the things that was on their priorities.
If we think about 95, Square during 95, was it Square or Enix, I think, that did that one? But I think it might have been Square. If you think about that time, and we had like Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 5, Final Fantasy 6, which all came out within like 2 years of each other, basically.
Chrono Trigger came out in 95.
Yep. You had Super Mario RPG, which was coming out in like 96. I guess I get it. Like, it was a big year for that company. A big couple of years for that company. So the game is like, it has some, like, the biggest thing I can say is it's very straightforward. It's very, like, a lot of it is like go to here to here to here to here to here. A lot of stats are very simplified as far as like this item gives you more attack and more magic attack or whatever. Like, it doesn't get too much more complicated than that.
I'm sold on the art style, man.
It looks beautiful. It looks really, 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 really good. And so where some of that customization though still gets to come in is through these things called the ability system, where when you level up, you get a thing called training points, and then you can allocate these training points into a particular stat. So there's strength, stamina, intellect, spirit, and luck. And depending on how many points you put into each one, you unlock bonuses. Some of them are passive and others are abilities you have to equip. And because you have a limited number of abilities you can equip at any time, depending on your stat allocation, you can still like then build characters. One of the things that actually does add to a lot of the customization is there's these things called chain abilities. And what that means is so that way, like if you say have strength 10 and you unlock Charger, for example, and you can only equip that to say your character with strength 10.
Yeah.
Chain abilities, you can actually, and I've done this with luck especially. I have Hawkeye, who's like the thiefy guy. Hawkeye, I've increased his luck to get his luck up higher and to unlock a chain ability, and chain abilities can be used on other characters besides that one, irregardless of what their stat is in that selectment. So I've specifically been like, I'm going to get his luck up higher here because he gets a thing that says reduces the or you have a 50% chance to not be knocked back when you normally would be. I can give that to my tanky guy to be able to keep taking more hits, and it allows for this like interplay between the characters and their stat layout.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually really fun. And the combat is like really straightforward for the most part. Like there's pretty limited combos, but like a lot of the unlocks for like classes or whatever will give you more combos. But it's one of those things where it's a very nice game to just kind of play. It's not something that's gonna like really make you think a lot. It's not gonna be like really emotionally deep, but it's a fun like chill out game.
Would it be?
And it does everything right. Like,
would it be correct to
good.
assume it's like one of those like obscure PlayStation RPGs that it's just a romp? There's not really like
yeah. Like think about like a game like Vagrant Story now, or like Earthbound now, or like for a while,
Vagrant
right?
Story.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people at the time never played it, but the thing was, right, a lot of people who liked those games, it's like it just does everything good. It may not be the best at everything. I mean, a lot of people would say Earthbound is different, but like you know what I mean though. Like even, and that's actually been a lot of the Mana games. Like Secret of Mana isn't like, I don't think it's one of the greatest RPGs ever made, but it is so good across the board. It is worth experiencing because it's just a solid experience.
Yeah.
That is Trials of Mana still to this day. And it makes me really hope they're going to do more. Because in some ways it still feels low budget and it still feels like it's clearly a remake of a game. Because like there's a lot of repeated songs. But
well, aren't we kind of in that trend anyway? I mean, like we've gotten what? We got the remake of Sword of Mana. Was that Sword of Mana?
Sword of Mana came out in like, that was a while ago. It's over there on the Game Boy Advance.
Well, what's the one that just came out on PS4?
Trials of Mana. Oh, you're talking about the Mana Collection. The Collection of Mana.
Yeah.
Collection of Mana is Secret of Mana, Trials of Mana, finally localized, and I think forget the other one.
Yeah, so like we're getting almost this trend of like games getting remastered, especially games that we haven't gotten before. So I'm curious to see like where that can go, because there's still a fuck ton of games that never came to the West that I think.
Yeah. Like, we still have never gotten a good localization of Final Fantasy V ever.
Yeah.
Besides the Game Boy Advance copy, for example. Like, that's it.
Even then, it's not stellar, but it's not horrible.
It's the sound. The sound's really bad.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Final Fantasy VI on the Game Boy Advance. It's the sound is really bad. But what I actually noticed, and Andrew, I'm sure you've seen this too, I think what a lot of companies are doing, they're using remakes as like a tip the toe in the water and see if there's still interest in this franchise. Like the Reignited trilogy or the Insane trilogy, and I think this Secret of Mana and Trials of Mana, I think they're going to go, oh, here's a game the West has never gotten. Here's a game that though Japan considered one of the best Mana games, if not the best Mana game. Actually, a lot of people who like Mana will say Seiken Densetsu 3 was the best Mana game.
Yeah.
And I think this is like their way of saying, is there interest for this franchise still on a broad scale? And if it sells well, which I hope it does, I would love more Mana games. I really would. They've had some misses, like Children of Mana, I think is a real miss.
What's the one that came out with the launch of the DS? Is that Children of Mana?
Yeah. Real miss. Dawn of Mana, I've never even heard of. I own it now, but I never even heard of it until very recently. So it's like, that didn't even happen, like in my mind. So they've definitely like left things for a while.
I definitely think people are especially will be a little more open to dipping their toe into things, especially because there's something enticing about when someone says this game never got released here. It's like, oh, well, I'll try it.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And it'd be kind of cool because, like, I mean, I know stuff like Crash and Spyro are obviously a lot more popular over here and more people know it, but I think, oh God, is it Crash? I'm gonna fuck this up. It's either Crash or Spyro. It's one of the two. have announced that I think they're actually working on a new game.
Spyro.
Yeah, they're working on a new
in
new,
the retro style. Like in that same style as the Reignited trilogy.
Which I think that's what they wanted to happen anyway.
That's
like
what the fans wanted to happen, so we're cool. That's awesome.
They just wanted a faithful recreation, which I still think the Spyro Reignited trilogy is like top 5 remasters ever made because it's quite literally almost perfect. But
the gems just get lost in the grass. So bad.
But
the grass is too high def. That's the problem.
The 4K.
It is, I'm telling you.
It owns us.
Dude, you amount of times you're like, I'm missing a single gem. Where the heck is it? And it's hidden in a little thing of grass, like a little tuft. And you're like, that never happened.
But
this was impossible in the past. There was no grass. It was just green.
And now we've got actual blades of grass, and it's screwing me all up.
But I think it's cool that stuff like Trials of Mana can come out, and hopefully, because we're also starting to see this trend of like a little more obscure games coming over here, like
well, people know about them now.
Grand Blue Fantasy Relink's coming out soon.
Yeah, Grand
tell
Blue
me
Fantasy
tell me when
versus-
you thought we'd be getting a Grand Blue Fantasy game that didn't have to be fucking translated in a mod.
Yeah, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus just came out in the last like month or two in the West, and people love it. It's selling really well. Like another series, Yeast is actually like Yeast 8 sold incredibly well.
Love Yeast.
Yeah, so Yeast 9, what's it called? Like Maelstrom Vox or something like that. Released in Japan and got like really high praise, and they've already announced they're working on the localization, and it's supposed to be coming out this year. And Yeast 9, it looks really, really good. So like, I'm really excited for a lot of these like obscure games.
I need it.
Are you looking at Yeast 9?
Yeast 8 was amazing, so I am fully prepared to buy this at launch.
It's actually pretty funny because Yeast 9 and the new Tales of Arise game are both doing the same thing, where they actually are kind of like they're going a bit more of a darker route, or like a little more of a serious route in some respect. And I'm excited for both of those things because like Tales
play 8 if you haven't, by the way, both of you.
It's on my list to play this year because I want to play it before 9 like really badly. I've played through,
Isn't Yeast 8 on Switch?
It's on Switch, it's on PS4, it's on PC, it's on... I think PC version has a couple of issues, though, so I would definitely recommend getting on a console. But it would be a game even you would like, Randy.
Yeah, because
what's that supposed to mean?
It means it's a good fucking game, you jackass.
It's also a really great JRPG for people who don't like turn-based. It's got actually genuine... Yeast has always had really good combat. Same thing with Tales games. Like, they've always had really good combat. Definitely.
I think Yeast has better combat than Tales games.
I think so. I think there's a little more complexity to the Yeast games as far as combat goes.
Another thing, actually, I want to mention to you guys. Last night, Final Fantasy 12 for the PS4 got an update. And they...
The fuck?
Ported... Yeah, it sounds weird, right? They ported all the extra shit that was on the Xbox One and the PC Switch versions, to the PS4 that weren't originally with that release. So they updated to make sure they all had the same content. So they brought it up to speed. We
were literally just talking about
something you'd never think would happen.
Yeah, we actually know. So I actually legitimately have been talking about 12 for the last couple of days because I thought I
love 12.
So like I have a lot of gripes with 12, but a lot of them boil down to like the class system. I didn't like the way they did it. And
you can change them now.
Well, that's the thing.
It's not permanently locked in anymore.
I didn't know also that the Zodiac Age... I thought the Zodiac Age was just going to be the equivalent of a 10.10.2 remaster. I didn't realize it was based off of the international job system update that no one got besides like Europe or something. And no one ever talked about ever. And then I was like, oh, so I was looking at all this stuff actually that the Zodiac Age changed. And I'm like, oh, wow.
It's worth playing. It is actually very, very worth playing.
So genuinely,
it's one of those games to play and grind and level up and like it feels really good customizing your characters. I actually enjoy the game system in Zodiac Age. I think it's really smart.
So I was actually now looking at the stuff that they've fixed, and I'm like, that's actually looks way better than like it seriously has made me consider genuinely giving it another go. Currently, I have another Final Fantasy game I have to finish, which is 9. 9 is the next game I'm going to play through after Trials of Mana right now. Because I need to just finish that and have it off my list. Because I want to just...
and you need to beat Riley.
If you see a GameStop and it's cheap, just get it.
I'll probably just buy it, to be honest. Yeah. I have a copy of like regular 12, but I'd much rather try the Zodiac Age, to be completely honest.
Yeah, my copy of regular 12 is in a metal case, and it's going to stay in there forever.
Mine too.
Because it's not as good as the updated version.
Yeah, mine's also whatever it is over there, the Steelbook edition or whatever it is. Yeah. All right. So anyway, so one more big game came out. We have to talk about. We'd be doing a really big disservice if we didn't talk about it. Speaking of Final Fantasy, that was a really good segue, by the way. The Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, and it's been met with overwhelmingly good praise and a lot of divisiveness regarding the ending. We won't go into spoilers about the ending. Like, for Randy hasn't finished it, and people haven't finished it.
I haven't played it.
You can't. It's one of those things you have to just experience the ending.
Just to touch on it, so we don't have to touch on it later. This is one of those situations where I'm okay with a company going after YouTubers, because Square Enix is taking down, or having YouTube take down videos of the ending of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. And we're talking about Atlas did the same thing with Persona 5 when that first came out. Like, they didn't want the ending on the internet because it matters so much to them, and they felt it actually ruins the brand a bit if you put that out there too early. So there's like a period of time where they're going to hold down to that, and they don't want it on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so Final Fantasy VII, though, as a whole, the remake, you've now played how much of it?
Probably like 7 hours.
7 hours. I've completed it. I've done everything. I've done everything besides get the final item in the actual final item in the game. Which, by the way, the challenge is awesome. It's insane. I can spoil the details of the challenge because it's not actually like that any spoilery. You have to fight every summon at once.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's awesome. I haven't done it.
Jesus Christ.
So that's cool. Anyway,
like in a row, like Final Fantasy X style.
No, not like a Russian roulette, not Russian roulette. Sorry, but not like a gauntlet. Like, they're in the map and then fight them.
It's a battle royale with summons.
Yeah, basically, yeah, it's insane. So anyway, so the 7 remake.
Oh my god, that would be dope.
Yeah,
what if there actually was a battle royale, but they just dropped bosses in there too that could fuck you up?
Square, this is it. It's your $1 million idea, and you just gave it to you. You just handed it to you.
Seriously though, think about it. You just think of what's the new one, the Black Ops one? What if they did that, but also there's a giant fucking T-Rex running around just eating people?
Just a randomly Bahamut just comes out of a sphere in the sky.
Dude, that'd be fucking amazing.
That would be intense.
It's just giraffes running around headbutting people.
Oh, I'm in.
It's already chaotic and random, and adding an element like that just sounds perfect.
Be fucking hilarious.
That would be great.
Do it. I just looked at your camera. Yep. Do it. Jesus Christ.
It's imagine getting off this really, really close one-on-one battle. You're like, all right, I got him. You step out the doorway and you get nuked by a fucking Bahamut.
Just a mega player incoming. Like, oh god. That's so great. So about the remake, I have to be honest, I am very happy that they genuinely proved me wrong on a massive amount of stuff.
I'm shocked.
They have done so much right with this game. There are a couple things that are still wrong, and they're in my mind they're inexcusably wrong for considering what the game is. A couple things that really bother me. The texture pop-in is insanely bad. One of the grossest things is it happens constantly. It's weird. This is, I would argue, the best looking game on a console yet to date.
However, it is also the worst looking game on a console.
It feels like it is easily at times the worst looking game on the PS4 by far. It sometimes you'll literally be walking down a path or something, and a door opens or some thing opens, and the texture on it is sometimes it's completely gray boxed, or sometimes it's so low res. It literally, and I'm not exaggerating, it looks like a PS1 level texture.
It gets really bad.
Looks bad. And a lot of times, too, the camera will, close up on these textures. There's a screenshot I put in Discord of, the railing in the church that, looks horrible. The whole motel looks bad that, you stay in Sector 7. It's really strange because, genuinely, this is probably the best-looking console game ever released today. And yet, the pop-in happens a lot. If it happened very infrequently, it happens a lot.
I said, I'm only 7 hours in, and it's happened quite a few times.
And what it really is that bothers me about it is it's so immersion breaking. That's the thing. It's like, and it's not like a little thing will like load in or pop in or whatever. It's like massive objects.
It's like a whole texture
world.
on a building or the road or
yeah. So like you're looking at something, you're fighting, you turn the camera, and all of a sudden you're like, you see two textures and they're clearly 20 years difference in quality. Like it looks really bad.
It's like, wow, look, it's Final Fantasy VII, the original.
Yeah, exactly. and some of the textures actually look that bad. Like, no exaggeration, actually look that bad. But thankfully, there's so much better stuff in the game.
Yeah.
That you get over that. Some other stuff that I have a problem with, without spoiling, I am in the camp of I am not a fan of the ending, personally. I obviously won't go into details about spoilers of that, but I'm curious to see where other people are, because I know there are some people who love it. And I'm really curious to see how like someone like you, because you're 7 is your favorite game of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm really curious to see what you think about it. And same thing with Andrew, obviously, because 7, regardless of what anybody says or thinks about the quality of the game, 7 is one of the most important video games that have ever come out. It like the impact it had on gaming, on culture, on everything about it is one of the most important games.
On
so, like,
standardizing a modern RPG, like
it's a lot. So like it's impactful, definitely. The other thing I really don't like with the game, so the one last thing I really genuinely dislike, I still, after 45 hours of gameplay, holy crap, the fact that items are tied to ATB is still the worst feeling thing in the entire fucking world.
it does suck.
Especially, and I know it's like may just sound whiny, but dude, okay, perfect example, playing Trials of Mana. How do I use an item? I open the menu and use it. How do I use a spell? I open the menu and use it. How do I use an ability? I open the menu and use it. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. And the biggest problem with the ATB system is that the second you need the item, you're typically in a spot you don't have ATB because you're dying and you're losing and you have no way to get the resource besides putting yourself in danger and dying. It's a really, really crappy feeling. So what ends up happening is I usually throw someone in to die and have them use their ATB on a survivor to fix the problem. Go ahead, you want to say something? I can tell.
Get good.
Yeah. It's the really problem with it is you feel genuinely hopeless. Like you don't feel like you have options because you don't. Your option is to literally leap back into battle and cross fingers. Because there's still unavoidable damage in 7 Remake. Even though it's like action combat, there's unavoidable damage, which means you still have to block to like mitigate that damage.
Yeah.
It's not an option sometimes. Like you're literally like, well, I have 99 high potions in my inventory, but I'm dying.
Rip.
That's it. Sometimes that happens. Or I have a Phoenix down. I have a Mega Phoenix or a Phoenix down. I could literally just fix this whole problem right now.
Rip.
But I can't. Like, it's really rough, especially if the last person alive is Tifa.
Ooh.
Who is the most fun character in the game to play by far.
But it's also the most close quarters character.
And the most fragile.
Yeah.
Tifa. So anyway, the combat.
She's made of rice paper!
Rice paper!
Bad. It's really bad. She genuinely feels like a fighting game character.
She
constantly.
Feels fucking incredible.
Like she's comboing buffs to herself to do better moves, to do other different abilities, to like move around all this stuff. She's backflipping and stuff. She's doing all this stuff to like bounce around. It feels so good. It really does. Like all the characters actually feel really good, but Tifa is leagues above everybody else. By like, it's not even comparable to me. Cloud is really good. I love the way he plays. Aerith is stiff, but like impactful. Like everything she does like matters a ton.
It's fine, she's dead.
She's not, dude. It's Midgar only, brother.
Oh, my bad. Fuck. Just bleep that out.
Yeah. I'll leave it there.
No, you just bleep it out with like a really, really fucking like monotone. Don't worry, she's alive.
Totally fine.
Well, let me record that voice for you real quick.
Thank you.
Alive.
Thank you.
There you go.
Throw that in there.
It's in my voice, you have it.
There you go. So Barrett feels great. The combat in general overall is not.
I'll be honest, I like Barrett more now than I did in the demo, and it's purely a me thing. I was not
I didn't
playing
like him in the demo, so
I was not
he's way better now.
I was not playing him particularly correctly. I mean, I haven't had a lot of time with him because I think after like the it's like a 3 or 4 hour mark. He goes away for a little bit.
Quite a while, yeah.
But then he comes back, and he is actually really fun to play.
He has this really interesting thing where, well, so like kind of everybody, so like all your weapons get up, like you can upgrade them individually, like their stats, their benefits, their materia slots, like everything you can upgrade individually and unlock new things, which is great. Every weapon has a unique ability to it,
which is it feels like something actually you might like, Andrew, because it almost reminds me of like, oh fuck, what's the class in fucking Guild Wars? Fuck. Maybe it's not Guild Wars. What the fuck? No, it was when we were watching videos on Lost Ark. The engineer.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me of like customizing the stuff with the engineer is kind of like how I think about the way upgrading your weapons goes. And the fact that I'm 7 hours in and still using the Buster Sword is amazing.
It's actually, and you don't have to, but you can. Like one of the best things is a lot of the upgrades in that game are very like horizontal.
Yeah,
like they offer something else.
I think my favorite part. So I don't mean to keep cutting you off. I'm really sorry, but I think what I like is, like you said, everything's pretty horizontal. Like there's not really particularly an upgrade, especially that I've gotten so far. I don't know if this changes later on, but there isn't an upgrade I've gotten particularly so far that's really made a character go like this.
Right.
The only way a character starts to go like this and hit the curve up is you utilizing the upgrade.
And like maybe materia.
Like Final Fantasy VII does a really good job. And again, this is, reiterate, 7 hours in, it's done a really good job of making you feel like, yeah, we gave you this upgrade. Doesn't mean you're going to be better.
Yeah,
like,
to be fair, it's actually something
quite literally what Andrew said. Get good. Like,
and that's something that actually the original game does a pretty good job of too. The original game definitely handles that mostly well. Like for example, the Buster Sword doesn't have a direct upgrade until the final weapon you unlock for Cloud.
Yeah.
And then it's finally like this is the first weapon I've unlocked after like 8 or 9 of them that's like a proper upgrade, like straight up. And it feels great. And then so this is a really cool thing. Excuse me. All of the weapons have a unique ability to them. So like only the Buster Sword can do focused thrust. Only Hard Edge can do like this big, like massive stagger move.
The Iron Blade does
I'm glad they brought Hard Edge back, by the way.
It's great.
It looks awesome.
Hard Edge was pretty dope in the original.
I actually used Hard Edge for a long time because it's full offensive, like physical offense, and it's mad fun. But anyway, so the way that works is every item or weapon gets a unique ability, unless you do this extra thing to basically unlock that ability for the character. So then you can, which is fun because you actually then get to like, you constantly rotate weapons for a little bit because you want to say unlock, like you want to unlock, say, focus thrust for another.
Excuse me.
So you can still use another weapon instead. So it still makes you bounce around and it feels so good. So and this is where Barrett really feels the benefit to that, and Tifa. Those two feel the benefit immensely. And then there's a weapon that you can only get by stealing off of a boss for Aerith. And the ability is it forms a ward in front of her, and it prevents enemies from getting through it and any projectile to come through it.
That's amazing. How do you steal it? I'm not even going to ask. I'll figure it out.
It's insane. It's actually nuts. So but the weapon is fully physical offense for Aerith. You're probably not going to actually want to do that for very long, but you're going to do it for a little while because you want to get that ability for Aerith as a whole. So you can switch her back to a different weapon and still get that ability.
It's an incentive.
Really fun.
Can I go on a tangent for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
I miss this old RPG design. I'm glad to hear it's in 7. But this concept of not every single item, like the equip-wise, that could be beneficial to you is laid out. Like the fact you'd have to steal from a boss, or like, because I'm playing 12 a little bit right now, world chests, like in the open worlds, are completely random, and what they have, the contents are random, but there's set specific ones that might spawn that have key. Like there's a couple of key accessories that if you want to get them, you have to kind of know where they are. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of off the beaten path. I miss that game design. Instead of you just cruise the whole fucking hallway of the goddamn game and you get everything.
Yeah.
Having to like, it's like this. You like look on the internet and you see it's like, wait, this exists? What is this? How come I didn't get this? And it's like adds replay value and it's interesting.
It's the beauty. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's game design that like it's game design that almost warrants, or not worded like that.
It rewards you.
Yeah, it almost feels like kind of like bringing up games being remastered and bringing back these old ideas, these old thoughts and processes to the game industry. And because I think that might have been why, because I did fall out of RPGs for quite a while. And
it was very straightforward and overly simplified, I think.
Yeah, and it just, and if I'm being honest, the one that I can think of that I actually really enjoyed last was, I don't know, Lost Odyssey, maybe, which is a great game. But I've just played a couple here and there, and I don't tend to finish them because I do miss.
That's a good game.
There it is.
It's a genuinely great game.
Can that seriously just either get a remaster or a sequel, like for real? Like
either that, or can I just get backwards compatibility on Xbox One so I can play it?
Oh, we'll get to that. Don't worry.
You'll get there in the Series X. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, that's what I have. Yeah.
It is a cool steelbook. I'm not crazy about 12, but it is a dope steelbook. Yeah.
Actually, did you want to grab the 7 remake one to show Andrew?
The
Sephiroth steelbook.
Dude, I think 12 is the last good Final Fantasy that was made. I'm obviously not considering the Final Fantasy 7 remake.
I'm a selfish prick, and I wish you would have gave me this one.
Yeah, I know. Me too. They're actually funny. To be fair, the last one I enjoyed was actually probably 13-2. I actually genuinely liked 13-2.
Yeah, I actually want to go back and finish 13-2. I legitimately enjoyed that game, despite hating the same exact combat system in the previous game.
But it also has like the monster raising thing, which actually picks up. Yeah, that's what that's the Sephiroth steelbook.
That's dope, dude.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's so cool.
So not to like wrap up 7 at all, but I do want to like bring up, how does this affect future releases for Final Fantasy? Does this have an impact?
God, I hope so. And
I
hope it
seriously
has
do.
to do more than just combat, because while I do like the combat, my favorite system by far in the 7 remake is the materia system. It is better than ever, and I seriously spent more time in menus than I probably did playing the game out of my own desire.
That's exactly how an RPG should be, though.
Yeah, because
I miss that shit.
If I want to do that, I should have the ability to do that. And if you don't want to do that and you just want to play straightforward, that's fine. Like, you can definitely do that with 7. But the materia system, if you want to min-max it, it offers such a massive variety of gameplay with utilizing all these different types of materias and support materias and ability materias and elemental stuff. And it's insane. And it's so much fun that it allowed me to like really relive. And it's kind of why I think I'm on a JRPG kick right now. Because I realize how much of this stuff isn't new to the 7 remake. It's actually from 7.
Yeah.
And that's like 20 years ago. And it's just as good, if not better now than it was then, because they're able to now just iterate upon it. If anything comes from the 7 remake, it's that I really hope the realm of character customization is really brought forward. Because, like, for example, if you were to look at, say, the 15 inventory system and skill system, it's literally just the only one who gets any real customization is Noctis with the different king swords. That's literally it, though.
I guess.
And like 13 has nothing, and 13-2, the only reason it has anything is because of the monster raising. That's it. And it's very bare bones.
There's my.
Sorry, I mentioned 13. I'm sorry. Oh, I have a question for you. I asked this to I'm not sure if you. Oh no, you did answer. You answered me on Twitter. Yeah. About which one would you rather play through, 8, 13, or 15?
Yeah, I said throw them all in a dumpster.
Yeah.
Ironically, I'm gonna try to play through 8 again.
I'm gonna
try it.
That's actually I'm genuinely torn. I don't know which one I'd want to play through less, 8 or 15 in particular. I feel like I'd actually play through 13 before I'd play through 8 or 15.
Well, on the upside, if you play through 15 again, it'll only take a couple hours.
That's what I did say. I was like, if I want to just straight through the story, it's like 20 hours long. It might be the most merciful of all 3 of those options.
Shit, dude, this podcast is probably longer.
It definitely has more content than 15 had, like actual story.
It's more character development, yeah.
My one thing that I hope doesn't come out of the 7 remake, and I'm only saying this because of Square as a company and how I've actually felt about them the past, like, probably 10 years or so.
Decade, yeah, at least.
Is I don't want Square to look at what they did with the 7 remake and try to do that with every game. I want them to be inspired by what they did with it and take that inspiration and make new games. I don't want them to release Final Fantasy 16 and me be like, okay, well, this is just a worse 7 remake. Like, why would
it's possible?
I don't want them.
So I have some thoughts on that actually.
Good.
About 16. Two things. One, my answer to this question was basically, I think all they needed was for 15 to be, or 15. God damn it. Final Fantasy 7 Remake to be a success and be a good game. I think if it tanked and did really, really badly, I think 15 or Final Fantasy in general would have just been done. So I think this is actually really important for them that it did well. I'm glad it did.
It's done insanely well.
I think 16 is going to be an extremely different game from what we've seen so far. I don't think it'll be action based, and I think it's going to be high fantasy because that's what a lot of the directors and people over at Square have been talking about. What they want is to go back to like the roots.
They actually haven't had a high fantasy Final Fantasy
in
game,
a long time.
In a very long
since
time.
What? Maybe
4?
5 was the last one.
Yeah, 5, because even 6 is cyberpunkish. Like, or steampunk, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually haven't. The only high fantasy game that they've made recently, that's like I say Square, has been the Bravely Default series and Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
Which, granted, Bravely Default 2 is coming out this year, and the demo owns. It's incredible.
And Octopath is fucking amazing.
If you
like, you could argue 14 in some ways, like especially Realm Reborn was very high fantasy, but it's not a main.
Yeah,
it's not a main series one. Even 12 had like machines and stuff. Like we're due for like a good classic style Final Fantasy game, and this would be the time to do it. I think
it definitely. I agree with you, Andrew, that it would be 100% a refreshing breath into what Final Fantasy needs. I think the first breath of bringing life back into what makes Final Fantasy was the 7 remake. Now what they need to do is keep breathing into it and fucking make Final Fantasy 16 an actual good game.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but instead of 16, I almost think they should just make a Final Fantasy 1 remake for like next gen. Just like with just that philosophy.
Like reboot the series. I mean,
kind of like Breath of the Wild.
I'd be okay if 16 is that reboot. That would be really great.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that'd be really great.
I didn't think of it like that. That's actually really cool. I'd actually be okay with that.
Because like the 7 remake too, the big thing this does again is it re-puts Final Fantasy in the real mainstream eye. So funny story. So actually, in order to get Final Fantasy, thank you. Hey, I'm not done telling my story. You can't laugh yet. I wasn't done with the story.
You're right. I'm sorry. My goldfish is on fire.
Oh, was that Sir Spankleton? No?
No, it was Tiddlywinks.
Oh, I love Tiddlywinks. He's a good guy.
My goldfish is on fire.
7, because of all the shipping delays and everything, I had to go out and physically get like a copy from a store, which curbside pickup or whatever right now. And it was really funny. We went to the Best Buy in Millbury.
Are you broken?
Done with the story. You can't.
No, I just pictured you standing in the parking lot and he just chucks it out the door and you catch it.
7? Yeah. Yeah, I'll throw you the 60. You throw me the game. No, the game first. Trust me.
Dude, we need to do a bit where I like pass off a game through like my thing and you pull off the same one from yours.
Dude, that'd be fucking hilarious.
So anyway, your story.
I don't think I have a copy of Lost Odyssey or I would do that right now. But we have the same 12. We can do that at some point. I definitely don't have that.
Yeah, good thing you don't.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm in like the line of curbside pickups, right? Fucking Andrew. I'm in the line of curbside pickups, right? And there's a guy in front of me, and I see the dude brings out a copy of Final Fantasy. And then there's me, who gets a copy of Final Fantasy. The guy behind me gets a copy of Final Fantasy, and the guy behind him got 2 copies.
Love this shit. Fantasy. I fucking
I was looking like, this is insane. Like within literally, I haven't left yet, and I've seen 5 copies of Final Fantasy 7 get handed out in less than like 30 seconds, which is great because it does like a lot of people who are maybe younger, right? Final Fantasy 7 was the game that let anybody in middle school or high school or college or elementary school, didn't matter. Everybody would talk about Final Fantasy because of 7. It is so great that game has done it again. That is my excitement about what 7 Remake might mean for the series, is it puts it back in that big public eye, which is good because it also puts pressure on Square to make good stuff. because they don't have the niche series to fall on. Like, the Tales games make great games every year. They really do. Always great. But it's a very niche franchise, and it doesn't matter if they make a bad game. It's gonna sell well enough to make the next one because all those fans are going to buy it.
Yeah, the difference is you don't see people lining up at Best Buy asking for Tales of Berseria.
But if the 7 remake was bad, right? Everybody hears about how bad it is.
Mhm.
Everybody, even people who aren't interested in Final Fantasy a little bit, have to hear about it. That's the
similar.
thing.
It's similar to our MMO discussion, where it's like
Yeah.
if Classic did poorly, everyone would have seen it.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot, but we've been delayed. We've been a month, so we have a lot we had to talk about.
Yeah. So just to kind of wrap up the Final Fantasy 7 thing, there's a reason I did literally all of my yard work today, because tomorrow is literally I'm waking up, eating breakfast, and sitting on my fucking couch and playing Final Fantasy.
It is a great game that you can binge hard. I put 45 hours into it in less than a week.
I'm happy that Final Fantasy. I'm really trying to get off the topic. I just like talking about it. Final Fantasy 7 is giving me that same feeling Doom Eternal was giving me, where like I would be up at like 2:00 in the morning, and I work first shift now, so I'm like playing Doom, trying to fucking live basically. And I'll like beat 11. I'm like, all right, I gotta go to bed. But what if there's something? And it's like I don't want to stop. And the other night when I was playing Final Fantasy 7, it's like it wasn't super late. It was like 11 or 12, but I was tired. And I'm sitting there with the controller sitting on my fucking fat belly, just playing. And I'm like, I need to sleep, but I want to see if I get hard edge.
Yeah, but I know there's a boss coming up, and I gotta get
All right, I got another skip in my head.
Oh,
So,
man.
Randy's up till 4 in the morning playing Doom, wakes up the next day, fucking loads a shotgun, goes to fucking work, grapples people, throws them. Wait.
I can't do that, Andrew.
I did this wrong.
School. That's not funny.
It's hilarious.
I work at school.
It's hilarious.
Actually, I work at home right now.
Yeah, this is a dangerous topic. I should probably start talking about forward.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello.
If we lived in any other country in the world besides America, this would be a hilarious skit. But in America, you're like, oh, it's probably happened.
The FBI is on the way.
Yeah, hey, Phil, call it off. It was just a joke, too. Anyway, so let's get off of games we've been playing for an hour, and let's talk about some other stuff. Let's talk about the consoles, because the console stuff's pretty big.
Yeah.
Because we are going to be affected by these things this year. The PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
This year? Wait,
Yeah.
really?
Both of them are confirmed 2020 releases, and they are sticking to that. They've talked about the coronavirus stuff and all the impact and shipping delays, and they are both locking down. They are releasing this year. They have no plans to move that.
Microsoft, I think, specifically said something about when this coronavirus thing started, is they had been planning hard to get it out by November.
Yeah, and Sony has also said they're still releasing it this year. And yes, they've had shipping delays and manufacturing pushback or whatever. But even if it means they're going to launch with a limited supply, they are launching. They are. Very
Do we think we're going to see a Wii scenario where we're going to see people thriving for these fucking consoles like people were thriving for the Wii?
No, I'll tell you exactly why. I think people are going to be hesitant to make the jump when I don't think they're going to have a lot of release day games, and I think people are still playing their current consoles. And it's why am I buying a PS5? Explain that to me. Why would I buy a PS5 when I have a PS4 right now?
I'm purely going off of the fact that I know we're going to get limited stock pools in the US.
So that may be like an increased value to some people,
yeah.
But I think the majority of people that won't be the deciding factor.
So,
the big thing is though, these companies
don't think these are going to sell well at the start.
Like you said, Andrew, and this is going to matter big for next month. So both companies have announced that they're doing a big event in May for the next gen console. It really matters what they announce, like in this May. Like I think as of right now, I think you're correct, Andrew. Like I will buy them when they come out because I am just like I now want to make a video on it, and I'm obsessed with owning everything. But
you don't say.
Why am I going to buy a new console when I have Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Doom, and Animal Crossing to play?
That's also very true, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're right.
All the games just came out.
You're completely right. And unfortunately, the as of right now, the PS5 probably won't even be backwards compatible for any of those, or it might be backwards compatible for Final Fantasy. It won't.
Just for the record, I don't plan on buying a PS5.
No.
The thing
There's
is,
no point.
there's a the larger discussion is just like every time, but what's the point of getting a console versus a PC? And it seems like the reasons to get a PC versus console, the reasons to get a console tend to shrink every year. It just gets closer and closer, and we're starting to really feel that. Like you can genuinely buy a $400 gaming laptop that'll do what my PS4 Pro does for the same price, and play way more games. That does become a problem. That's the bigger problem. But anyway, about the consoles specifically, the PS5 and my Xbox Series X have nothing announced besides, was it Godfall and something else, but that's about it. We know nothing. May will be the big thing about whether or not this actually matters. The other big thing is going to be the features of the systems. So the Series X, I think, as of right now, features-wise, is winning by far.
By a fucking
the smart
landslide.
delivery system and the backwards compatibility it has is a massive selling point for me, and I think a lot of people. The PS5 currently has nothing, and that is a worry. Like, console itself, it has nothing additional besides backwards compatibility for like 100 games.
So let's just assume this fucking thing comes out in November. It's April.
Yeah,
like they have 6 months to sell us on this fucking thing. So 7 months.
The big thing that they've shown recently then are the controllers, the actual interface between you, the player, and this console. The PS5 controller, have you seen these, Randy? Do I have to bring them up for you?
I know what they look like.
I love the PS5 controller.
So the PS5 controller is very divisive. It's very divisive. There's a beautiful picture. Actually, I kind of just want to pull this up and I'll put it on the thing for you, Andrew. There is a guy who actually did a mock-up of it that I actually think does make it look better, because my only gripe with the PS5 controller is I think the color layout is just boring.
I like it, actually.
It's for me, I'll show you what I mean. Like, this looks to
amazing.
Looks way better. I'm going to add this to the stream real quick. Display capture. Because one of my only gripes, like I said, my gripe with it really is it's like all white and black is like a bit dull. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I'm gonna show you, Andrew, for a second, but like this is whoops. Like done. So yeah, this here.
The gray
one here on the top right. That one with the actual like color of the buttons colored in, with the PS logo colored in, the D-pad looks a little more separate from the background colored in. I don't care about the gray. I actually don't mind if that gray background was white. I actually just think straight up this looks slightly better with the colored in buttons and the colored in D-pad. And the other one just looks...
I like it less. I like the one they put out better. So I guess it's just personal opinion.
Yeah, because my only real thing with the regular one that they've done is it's nothing. There's like nothing going on with it. Which I guess some people, I could see why people like that. It's
simplistic. It's made for gaming. I love it.
The only problem is it's fucking white, which is horrible by default because hands.
There'll be a black version when it comes out. There'll be a solid black version.
There better be. But guess what's not going to be probably baked into your console purchase? The black one. It will not be there. I can almost guarantee it. Which is going to be a problem because that white one is going to look bad.
It sucks because I fucking love keyboard, right? I love shit that's fucking... I love controllers and consoles that are white. It's just that they get blasted to death.
They always look bad. Yeah. The one downside to white, it looks sleek as heck. Always.
Gotta take care of it, man.
Yeah. But again, that's just like another thing where it's like, it's another maintenance fee basically onto my console purchase in a way. But I think actually the design of the controller I don't dislike overall. I think it's fine.
I love the aesthetic of the black, white, and the blue. I really like that. But I do agree that I think a white controller, like, I say this, but the controllers I have are like either black or solid, like solid blue.
Yeah.
Because they look fine.
Now, I don't have an inherent problem with like the controller itself other than like the color. I'm not crazy about the white. But I mean, and for all intents and purposes, it looks a whole hell of a lot comfier to hold.
I think it being fatter is actually going to be
I'm glad that it kind of fell off the dumbbell shape. Like the top is like a whole uniform curve. It looks like it's probably fucking fine to hold. Like it's probably comfortable.
I'm
as
also
hell.
hoping it's a bit heavier than the PS4 controller. It's funny because it's weird to say, but I actually think like the weight of the Xbox One controller makes me prefer it. It like there's in a weird way, it almost like it feels like it provides extra feedback to when you're doing something because it's meatier, and like that. So the one thing that both these companies are finally, after years and years and years of people complaining about it, are finally taking seriously is actual controller features. Yes, that controller is probably one of the best ones on the market right now. Is the Switch Pro controller?
It's one of my favorite controllers.
It's the greatest controller ever made, in my opinion.
It's so good.
I don't understand how this controller is as good as it is.
Yeah,
and you know what's funny? Look at the shape of this controller and look at the new PS5 controller.
Yeah, you're very right. You're very right. The
it's
other thing
very
too,
similar.
If they can also ever get even remotely the battery life of the Switch Pro controller, that'd be great. Because that Switch Pro controller lasts me for like, I didn't charge it until like I literally played 3 houses and then almost finished 3 houses at like 80 hours and I hadn't charged it yet. It was insane. So both these companies are finally taking in controller features as a real thing, because at the end of the day, we have to acknowledge at a technical level, we are starting to plateau in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And the cost of breaking that plateau is very, very high. So to keep that down, game feel. The interactivity matters a ton more, and controllers are the key to that. That's why, actually, if you saw this interview with Nintendo like a year ago, when they were talking about what the next thing beyond the Switch would be, their biggest answer was the controller. The last like decade, they've been trying to find a better controller because they feel like that's the next step. I agree with them. And the PS5 and Xbox Series X controllers are exactly that. The Xbox Series X controller looks basically identical to the Xbox One controller, just the D-pad.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, it matters. Yeah. Pretty much no one dislikes the Xbox controller. It's fine.
I mean, let's be real. The Switch Pro controller is literally just a better version of the Wii U Pro controller,
which is basically just an Xbox 360 controller. Like, to be honest, are you all right over there? I don't have. Actually, I have my copy. So I have my Switch Pro controller. I don't have my copy of my Xbox controller. I'd hold it up to show. But anyway, so the biggest thing between these two controllers, which is this is the first time in this race so far.
Nice.
Yes, it's
I like that color.
A very sleek controller. Very, very sleek.
I actually really like these things.
The currently console.
Fucking molesting his controller.
I'm glad we talked about shooting up in work and molestation on this podcast.
Yeah, we're killing it. I'm really glad no one watches this podcast.
That's fine. It's just an inanimate.
Blake, it's a joke.
Wait, Blake?
Yeah, Blake like faithfully watches all these episodes.
And the Let's Play.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so the consoles right now, I think genuinely, Xbox is winning, feature-wise.
Yeah.
This is excluding the controllers for a second.
That's because PS5 doesn't have features.
It's true.
It's kind of hard to win a race when you don't have anything.
And also, spec-wise, the Series X is more powerful in every way.
Yeah.
So far, spec-wise.
And people can say that's not a point of contention, but at this point in 2020, it really is.
Big thing too. Xbox is doing, I think, the smarter thing. They're prioritizing frame rate over resolution.
Yeah.
I think that.
Hell yeah! Thank fucking God.
Their goal is to get to 144 FPS reliably on their console.
I just want 60, dude.
I know.
That's all I want.
I'm sick of watching a game release and like, yep, it's gonna be locked to 30. Oh, good.
Even on the PS4 Pro.
Oh, I guess I'm getting it on PC.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. So now, however, the price will change that, I think, a lot.
Yeah.
Depending on how much the price comes up.
I mean, like, fine.
But the controllers, I actually think Sony has the better controller feature-wise. 2 major things that they've added to their controller. One is haptic feedback, which is basically a better version of HD Rumble.
Yeah.
From it has way more interactivity or interaction between it and your hand, and the game and your hand. That's great because anything that makes the feel better is better, straight up. But for me, the biggest thing that the PS5 controller has that the Xbox controller doesn't seem to have, I forget what the heck they're called, adaptive triggers.
Yeah.
Like the GameCube has. Or it actually, it's analog until the final press. That's back for the PS5 controller. And not only that, too.
That's actually good because one of my biggest gripes with the PS4 controller is the triggers.
Yes, and this is, I think it's the same way. It's the 2 trigger buttons. It has that feel for it. And if you look at the design, the trigger buttons seem to be a little bit more flush with the controller.
Yeah.
So it actually feels like you can hit more.
Best triggers right here.
What are you looking at there? Is it the Switch ones?
Switch Pro, yeah.
So
I love these things. They're basically just fucking buttons, and I love that, actually.
See, I actually prefer the fact that the GameCube has that like analog.
I think it depends on the type of games you play.
Which is fair. However, the fact that there's the option will be great because as long as that analog, as long as that distance between like rest and press isn't too big, then you're right. Because if like a game doesn't need that, then you don't need that analog leeway. And as long as it's not like a long press, then you're fine.
Yeah.
But the fact that is one thing the PS5 controller has that's really big over it. The other stuff for the PS5 controller and the Xbox One controller that they both touted, and I'll be completely honest, I have zero care. I don't even remotely have an interest in it. Is all the share features.
Yeah.
I've never pressed the share button on either of them besides accidental.
I did like once, and it was for something in Rise of Iron, I'm pretty sure.
I did it a decent amount of times on PS4 just because you could share it straight to Twitter and have a perfectly it would be like a solid quality screenshot that I could share with like friends on Discord and stuff. Like all of our first raid clears with pictures are on PS4. But that's a very specific thing, and it was pretty much just for Destiny. Other than that, if it's a single player game, I usually don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe this is big and more people care, but I just don't.
Yeah,
I think it is actually.
Yeah, someone out there is fucking pumped about it.
A lot of people like the share features. I think,
and to be fair, it's actually probably really cool for like streamers, like YouTubers, to be able to like show their playthrough or like
streamers and YouTubers. Though, to be completely honest, I think if your market is streamers or YouTubers, you're fucking retarded.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna say I think those are the people who are gonna care the most about stuff like that.
Yeah, you're right. The other thing though that these controllers have that is different that I just remembered now. So the PS5 controller is exactly like the way they currently are as far as charging goes. It's USB-C, which is good. Charging to the console or whatever, normal. The Xbox Series X controller actually is getting a lot of contention, and this is one of those things. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say why I don't like it, and then I'm going to say why I actually prefer it in a weird way. So the Xbox Series X controller doesn't use internal storage or for battery. It uses AA batteries. I hate that because, oh my god, I have to buy AA batteries again for my controller, which is insane. On the flip side, they have also announced that they will be making a battery pack that is USB-C chargeable to the controller as an alternative. I
think my only caveat to that is how much are they going to sell that for?
Yeah,
I disagree. I thought the same thing before, but now I have a rechargeable battery pack and a stand that goes with it. I was trying to bring it over here, but it's plugged into the wall.
Yeah,
but like I already had the option to do that, and I realized with my PS4 controller, getting a stand, you really can't because it doesn't have replaceable battery packs. So I find it much more convenient to drop this into a stand than plug in my PS4 controller into a cord.
No, so actually, to be fair, literally the thing that I was just saying, too. So Xbox has already had an answer to that, which is a rechargeable battery pack for USB-C that you can get for the controller as an option. Now, so that's where I'm actually like, okay, sick. Because the benefit to that is if my PS4 controller is dying, or let's say my Switch controller right now, is dying, right? That's it. If it's dead, I'm done. I'm stopped. I'm plugging it into the thing, and I'm kind of locked. Now, granted, you can get around that. Like I do have a bajillion cables in my room where I do have an extra USB or micro USB charger connected near where like I would normally play a game, and I can just plug it into the wall outlet and play it. The PS4 really hates that. So that's always a problem. It really hates that. So the fact that I have at least the alternative of, my controller's dying. Let me just put in some batteries and finish this thing I'm playing for an hour or two. And then when I'm done, charge it up for next time.
Yeah.
I am actually okay with that. And where I know this, so the cynic in me goes, Microsoft knows that. That's how they're going to make more money is by selling this battery pack separately.
I'll take it if it works. The PS4 fucking controller lasts for like an hour.
Yeah,
it's fucking horrible.
Genuinely, if my options are I can do it either way, I get what I want. So they actually announced when they did this that they had done a study and a survey, a bunch of people, and it was like 50-50 split. What do you prefer, the chargeable way it is now or the AA battery way? And it was like a harsh 50-50 split. People liked both. So this is their solution is...
Okay, you get both.
So we as the consumer get the option for both. They make more money. Honestly, I'm okay with that. As long as that battery pack is like $50, in which case, screw you if it is. If it's like a $20 battery pack, I can be down for that convenience. I really can.
I've never been one to shy away from like the AA life. Like
I hate it. Besides gaming, that's literally the only time I'm not against it.
I hate it for 360 because the fucking batteries would disconnect. My controller would disconnect mid fucking Symphony of the Night speedrun. I'm so pissed about that.
I mean, to be fair, the Xbox 360 controller is great, but the mount for that battery pack is awful.
Yes, it is.
But I'm agreeing with you, Chaz, where it's like I prefer, like, let's say I'm playing Halo Infinite, which, by the way, I am still excited for.
Especially considering the last two were so good.
Half of 5 is actually really good.
Okay, fair.
I played about 5 minutes of 5, or 5. I turned it off and played something else.
Back to Raid.
But let's say I'm playing Halo Infinite. If my controller dies, like you said, with something like the PS4 controller, it's like, all right, well, I guess I'm getting up to plug this fucking thing in. I'm waiting like an hour.
You're right.
I could just literally go to the kitchen, grab some AA's, put it in the controller, and be like, all right.
Yeah,
all right, we're back to it.
There have genuinely been times where, like, oh shoot, so the only reason why this works out for me with like the Switch Pro controller, it doesn't become a problem, is because like, oh, my Switch Pro controller's dying. Easy, I just grab the Joy-Cons. Like that, but that's because this is an extra third-party controller. Like if I'm talking about base out of the console box, the thing is, I have genuinely had the PS4 and Xbox One times where I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to stop in half an hour because my controller's dying and I have to go do something else because I have no other way to play this besides buy another controller or charge it and wait another hour and a half.
I am laughing that you found yourself in a situation where the Switch Pro controller was dying while you were playing.
So, to be honest, and this is a pro to it, it dies so rarely I forget to charge it. That's genuinely what happens.
I'll throw it on the charger every now and then, but most of the time it's like I'll play like Pokemon or something for like a week straight, 2 weeks straight, and that shit never even comes close to a charger.
And it's funny because I have across the room, I have this like little charger dock. It was like $15. That thing charges this in like full, like 0 to full in like 35 minutes. Like within an hour, I'm at another 80 hours to go. Like it's insane.
It's powered by fucking 1.21 gigawatts.
It is. It's nuts. Literally, there's like 18 5G towers in this thing. I'm pretty positive.
That's causing Corona. Smash it.
I think my initial, when I initially bought my Switch and I got Breath of the Wild, I got a Switch Pro controller right off the bat because I wanted to play it with that. And I remember during my initial start of the playthrough, when I got home from launch, I was up for like 2 days straight. Just had the same controller, never touched it, didn't die. Yeah. Like, holy fuck.
But yeah, you're right.
That was my first experience.
Like the PS4, dude, the amount of time I genuinely had to play the 7 remake basically with it plugged into the wall because like I went to play it and by the time I had finished the first Mako reactor and was walking through the streets of Midgar, it was already going to die. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, really? Right now?
I've noticed, like, when I turn on my PS4, it's like every single time I see that little thing pop up that says your battery is low, I literally just go, again. It's like, it's the fact that it's become like that. It's like, dude. Fuck with make a better fucking battery.
There is I forget what game it was. I don't think I ended up doing, I think I bought it on PC actually. That I was like, I want to play this on the console because I want to play it on the big TV or whatever. And I was like, I'll buy it on PS4 or whatever because I want to play it on the big TV. And I was like, screw it. And literally, the thought was, I'm gonna the controller.
Yeah.
I was like, screw it. I'd rather just plug in my Xbox One controller to my computer and just do that. It's just so much easier and it won't die and it looks better anyway. But it's like even the commodity of like playing it on the big TV wasn't worth the really bad battery life of the PS4 controller, which also, to be fair, the Xbox One controller has just as much of a problem.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that the Xbox One controller I like to have around so much because plugging that sucker into your computer in Windows is like, I know exactly what to do with you, and you don't have to do anything. That is the benefit to that controller. But that's all I really have to say about the controllers. I think overall, I think the PS5 controller, feature-wise especially, is a better controller so far. It's unfortunately their console is significantly behind the Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
But the controller is definitely better. I'm really hoping. I almost want more. So consoles have been doing this thing now where it's like, oh, here's the new, like, couple years in, here's the new better console version, right? I'm almost down. Can we get like controller upgrades? Like seriously, like this one now has haptic feedback. This one now has adaptive triggers. Like I would be more excited for that
would buy it
than I would a console.
In a heartbeat.
Also,
I wouldn't even think about it.
The investment into that is way lower, so I'm more likely to go commit to it.
Yeah.
Like $60 is a game. Oh, that's another thing. How much?
Dude, I've gone through like 4 PS4 controllers in its lifespan.
How much? What?
I've gone through 3 as well. I'm on my third. I'm on my third right now. How much do you think these controllers for this next generation are going to cost? Because they've been increasing at a rate of approximately
I'm going to say
$80 like per generation.
I'm going to say $80.
I'm thinking 70. I'm thinking 70.
I'm only saying
I'm seriously with you both. My guess is between those two numbers.
I'm only saying 80 because the Switch Pro controller was 70.
It's 50 now. I can buy it for 50 now. But you know what really makes me say it's possibly even higher than 80? The Xbox One Pro controller is like $120 when it first launched.
I do not think they'll be 3 digits.
I don't think so. I don't think they can be. Genuinely. No. I don't think they can be and ever sell. It's just not going to happen.
You'll see people buy.
These will die. These do die. They break. People throw them, and no one is going to invest triple digits.
People treat that like Riley treats a computer chair.
Or it's just a matter of I want to play 2-player. $100 plus the game cost. If it's going to cost more to play with you than it is to buy the game to play with you, it is not worth it. That is insane.
Chaz. Silly you assuming there'll be couch co-op game on a new console.
Listen, there will always be those indie games like Moving Out coming out in a few days, which looks awesome. That will exist, and I will
also,
play them.
By the way, we still need to do this.
Oh, Way Out? Yeah, I do want to play that. It's like, so do you ever play the game Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons?
No.
If you know of it? It's like,
yes.
Yeah, so it's basically a 2-player prison break game made by that same company.
Huh.
And you can only play it co-op, basically. Like
what's the really derpy one? Was it Humans Fall Flat or something like that?
I've heard about that, yeah, but
that one's a pretty fun co-op game.
Fuck.
Google it. You'd like it, Randy. It's that.
Where the fuck did you play that?
I actually haven't played it. I was watching a friend play it. Some of my old Speed friends.
Sounds amazing.
There's a group of them that were playing it.
Humans Fall Flat.
I'm telling you, dude, Moving Out looks great. It looks like Overcooked with Moving Company. I'm in.
Yeah, this is the game I was thinking of. So Humans Fall Flat is basically it looks like Gang Beasts.
Okay.
But it's an adventure style. You pick shit up and you try to make through the level.
Oh god.
So you're like picking up like objects and putting them down and trying to climb stuff. So picture that with like Gang Beast physics.
Oh, that's awesome.
Good fucking god.
Fun. That
it's a good time.
Sounds like fun.
That sounds amazing.
And it's co-op.
That's what matters.
I'm in. I'm sold.
Yeah, beat the crap out of each other on that.
I'm in.
Get the dresser out the way.
All right, what else do we have to talk about?
Nothing really that exciting.
Yeah, nothing all too crazy.
We were talking about the Fallout 76.
Yeah, we can skip that.
Yeah. Literally, the Wastelanders it happened, and it's better. Yeah, and that's about all I really can say about it. It's actually really.
Here's my thing. Here's my one thing I have to say about it. It's too better, too late.
Yeah, you made a point in the notes to talk about comparing this to like No Man's Sky, and I get what you're. I totally agree with you that why are people more accepting of the No Man's Sky Year 1 patch than this? But my kind of like, because you kind of like, you admitted you were like kind of arguing yourself there. My like argument against that as well is also like but the difference is like the people who made No Man's Sky were Hello Games, a really small indie game. This is Bethesda, one of the biggest gaming companies on the planet.
The reason No Man's Sky can get away with it is because
and they didn't get away with it, to be fair. Like,
the mistakes were a lot more grievous as well, by the way.
Well, that's the other thing, too. Like, No Man's Sky was false promises. Fallout 76 was unplayable.
Yeah.
That is, like, that's a...
Unplayable with a lot of their fixes being, hey, buy this more stuff for game.
Yeah.
Also, our game's not fixed yet, but now you can buy our mods.
I have a video idea, by the way, that may happen, which is going to be pretty much like the history of DLC, and I just want to talk about how Bethesda, ironically, has been the leading cause in a lot of really shitty DLC practices. Selling mods, Bethesda Creation Club, the first console game to sell aesthetic DLC that we now think is good and better than other stuff. Oblivion Horse Armor. It's incredible how like that company has been basically dicks for a long time. And
do you know what started all of this? Do you know what game begun this trend? The original free-to-play game.
The original free-to-play game?
Maple Story.
Yes. A lot of people tout that as being the first major success of a free-to-play game.
Yeah, because I would say the thing is, like, with RuneScape never charged for anything, right?
No.
Ever.
Yeah.
Besides, like, a membership that was like, here, you get, like, better connection.
I think it was it Nerd Slayer? Is that his name?
Yeah, here's like...
That's a game. He actually does a thing where he talks about the history of free-to-play and, like, how that came about in microtransactions. And he says, like, the big start of it, honestly, in some ways, was Maple Story. Before that, though, it was like he had some other examples too, like even earlier, arcade machines, because you played with quarters.
Yeah.
And they're intentionally designed to make you easy to get killed, so you put more quarters in.
Like Dragon's Lair, like you die in one hit, and it's all about like rebooting it and whatever. Yeah, but my thing is now is like, without going obviously down the rabbit hole, I kind of don't even feel satisfaction by punching at Bethesda anymore, because like they've done it to themselves for so many years, and it's all just kind of now clearly evident.
My dream, right? My dream is for somehow Bethesda to lose all their money and go bankrupt, and id Software swoops in and buys Bethesda.
The publishing company. Yeah, because the other thing too to keep in mind is that Bethesda and Bethesda Software are like two different companies actually.
Softworks.
Softworks, maybe Softworks, but like one is a publishing company and the other one is
Bethesda.
A game development company, and then they're all owned by ZeniMax, I think, which is like a bigger financial company. Yeah, I don't know. 76. It's better, I suppose. I don't care. I seriously could not care less. I only
threw it on there for a comparison.
I would love to be interested in Fallout again, but it's going to be another game.
I literally don't care.
See, I love New Vegas as someone who actually enjoyed the series. I liked 3. I liked New Vegas, and I really disliked the direction Fallout 4 went with, like super overly simplifying the RPG mechanics. Yeah, it's grossly overly simplified RPG mechanics.
Yeah,
it's the Dragon Age 2 of that franchise to me.
Yeah.
It's that game needs a new Inquisition or an Origins. Like again, that series does. And
also, can we seriously just get another Dragon Age?
It's happening, but it's got its own massive set of controversies we don't need to go down right now.
Yep.
Holy cow. The last big thing I do just want to say, because I love talking about this and being cynical and jaded. The Last of Us 2 is delayed indefinitely because there was all this stuff and all these problems, and that game has a massive crunch problem where those freaking employees have been on crunch working like 90 hours a week for a year and a half straight, and some of them are fresh college students, and it's delayed indefinitely. And you know what that means?
More crunch time.
Wow, I do not believe that crunch is going to stop. I'm pretty positive that crunch is continuing for another year. Fuck Naughty Dog right now, because that's insane.
Yeah, Naughty Dog's just being a bunch of buttholes.
If you've not watched or read anything about the Naughty Dog crunch stuff that's been being released from everything that they've been doing for like a decade, it is disgusting.
It's fucking gross.
I am somebody who actually understands crunch has a place in anything creative. I get it because I do it myself. Sometimes I'm working on a video and I just down it. Like you don't get sleep because you're passionate about it. And you hear like those stories of people making like Chrono Trigger and they're sleeping in the office, and they're not doing it because they necessarily need to, but sometimes those guys are doing it because they just want to.
They love their product.
Super Metroid is a prime example of that. And when you interview the team was like, no, we knew what we were making. We knew how good this was going to be.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah,
it's like the mighty number 9 team. Fuck
off. But the fact that this like crunch thing has kind of been coming out in a couple of years, I think it's been like a little overblown. But the Naughty Dog stuff, that has been insane. It has been gross.
It's been disgusting.
So I just wanted to say that because fuck Naughty Dog right now. Honestly, I actually genuinely almost don't want to buy The Last of Us 2 because of how bad the horror story is. And people have been hospitalizing themselves due to like stress-induced illness. Like it's been disgusting. That's the whole thing that happened with Anthem, with like BioWare. BioWare had the same thing. They used to call it like BioWare
wasn't
Magic.
Even good.
I know, that's the thing. But they held it BioWare Magic, and then literally Anthem released, and people went into the hospital. Like no one. Okay, Masahiro Sakurai does this every time he makes a Smash Brothers game, and even he says it's a bad idea, and he does it to himself. Okay? Like I'm pretty sure he was told by his doctor if he makes another Smash game, he's gonna die. Like that's what's gonna happen. But God, that's what I have to say. Fuck Naughty Dog. The Last of Us wasn't actually even that good. It's one of the most overrated games ever made.
Yeah,
play it and tell me the gameplay is good. Honestly,
I'm not
Riley.
No, shit, no one talks about the gameplay in that game. No one.
The story's great.
That's it.
Okay,
Literally
cool.
it. Case closed. That's it where it ends. Tell me somebody, like any review of The Last of Us, where they're like, oh, the gameplay is something
My
to
new
talk about.
PS4 came with a copy of The Last of Us Remastered, and I sold it.
I don't blame you.
I just,
I think I had a copy.
I
of it
didn't
because
even
wanted
open
to,
it.
I wanted to buy it and then was like, screw it. I don't even.
GameStop literally told me they couldn't take it. Because
You know how little
the store took off the packaging and came back in.
you cared little about The Last of Us when you buy the greatest hits version of it.
Oh, I remember why I bought that. So I played the PS3 version, right? I played through the PS3 version when it first came out and thought it was the most overrated game ever made. And then I bought that again because I was gonna replay it to give that like 12, like right now, Final Fantasy 12. It's like I want to give that another chance. Maybe it was me. Like seriously, maybe it was me. I bought it. I bought the greatest hits version because it was $5 and I couldn't be asked to spend more than $5. And then I got it, unpackaged it. I was like, oh, I should play this before The Last of Us 2 gets delayed as a review to be like, here's a review into The Last of Us 2. And then it got delayed and I was like, oh thank God. I didn't want to do a video on it. Like I wanted to and really didn't.
Dude, so
I don't like shitting on games. I know like some people look at me like, oh, you're very cynical or whatever. I don't want to make a video just shitting on a game. I don't find pleasure in that. And that was why I was like, I don't want to play that game because I just don't want to shit on it.
Yeah, it's actually funny. Do you remember? And we'll kind of like trickle out after this, but remember when The Last of Us originally came out and JonTron put out that huge post about The Last of Us and everyone basically called him a Nazi?
Literally, because he was saying his whole thing was
it's
the
not that
story's
good.
Fine, the gameplay is horrible. Honestly, you know what that tweet did for me? It was like complete validation. I was like, oh, there's another person in the world who feels the exact same way.
Oh my God, Crystal Chronicles Remastered finally has a fucking release date.
When is
Holy
it? Soon,
shit.
right? It's relatively soon?
I lied. Never mind. This is the original release date from 2003.
So the game...
Never mind. It still doesn't have a fucking release date.
No, so because I'm a nerd, I have a spreadsheet of games that are coming out. So there are a couple games coming out soon in the next month, but it's not many that have confirmed. So there's Moving Out comes out in a couple days. New World actually that needs to get changed because New World got delayed until August, which that is an MMO I do want to try because it's not like a rating MMO, so I can actually stop. So I'm okay with that. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition looks great. Comes out on the 29th and also has a massive epilogue put at the end of it. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
A game free to play, I think, on Switch. I want it because it looks super fun and it's basically a big multiplayer. It's called Ninjala, and it literally is like Splatoon with fun, cutesy like ninjas. But it's like the really like kind of skater punk ninja style.
Oh yeah, I did see that. It looks really good.
It looks really fun.
I've never seen that.
I'll show you something after this, and then that's it. That's the only thing that we have confirmed. Because after that is look at all these games that don't have confirmation dates. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, Spiritfarer, Biomutant, Torchlight 3, Tales of Arise, Ys
Okay,
9.
seriously, can Biomutant just fucking come out?
Yeah, but there's like
I know, right?
Hollow Knight Silksong was supposed to come out at the beginning of the year. That's not anymore. Last of Us 2 probably won't happen whenever. Bravely Default 2 is still just 2020. And then we have like Baldo, which it looks okay. Blue Fire looks really good. That's a new Hello Games game.
Yeah.
That comes out in summer. That's all we know. The Last Campfire looks good. That's summer. And Elder Souls looks really good, but that's summer. Like, there's no date on it, which is, it's like, dude. So that's why I was like, after this, I'm going to take a break and go through some backlog.
Yeah.
This is so weird, dude. It said the release date is like, yeah, it's going to come out in January 2020. And then they were like, all right, so it's going to release February 25th, 2020. And now apparently it's TBA summer 2020.
Yeah. It's, I'm going to put extra Crystal Chronicles on here.
What? Are they having some issues?
It's possible. That or they do. So some companies also do like some, they do like release date dodging. Or like they don't want to like you don't want to release your really obscure game on the day Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, February I could see why they dodged that.
Yeah, like you don't want to be like Animal Crossing and Doom are an anomaly. Like that's not how that normally works. Like usually those games don't both release and they're both massive successes. Like that's not normally how that happens. But like you don't want to be like a perfect example. Like the biggest one that I remember is Darksiders and Bayonetta. Like Darksiders and Bayonetta both released. Like
I think we're forgetting,
day or like the same like right around.
I think we're forgetting a little more important one.
Which one's that? Oh, Kingdoms of Amalur. Yeah, that was a bigger one too. But the Darksiders though literally was like it got released on the same day I think as Bayonetta.
Or Borderlands and Destiny.
Oh yeah, that was a
Borderlands what? 3?
Yeah, Borderlands 3. When did that release in September, right?
Oh, and the new Destiny expansion came out at the same time. You're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around the same time.
Yeah. Fuck Destiny.
You always gotta get one in there. You always gotta get one in there.
And this is the sad part is I sure, okay. I don't really play it anymore, so.
No, I'm just saying that for my own health, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else to talk about. If you guys are good,
I'm pretty sad. That was a lot longer than
that felt good though. We haven't done it in a while, and that felt good to just get out.
Yeah.
Chat.
Yeah.
Maybe
Final Fantasy 15 sucks. All right, I'm good.
Yeah, that feels good. There you go. See,
I was dodging saying. Yeah, I was
good.
dodging saying it earlier. God, I hate that game, dude.
It feels good.
Fur Fighters is a really obscure game on the PS.
Just for the record, that is the most let down I have ever been by a fucking game. Was Final Fantasy 15 because I was so excited for a new main title Final Fantasy, and I've been following this since the game was called fucking 13 Versus.
Yeah,
and I was so excited for it to finally be out, and it was crap.
That is literally
it was so bad.
I played like I played like
Destiny. That's why I feel that way. I have that same like. That's how I felt. I was like, oh.
I played like 6 or 7 hours of 15, and I was like, yeah, I'm done.
I played
the whole game in a weekend.
I played 25 hours of a lot of side stuff because I wanted to explore and enjoy this world, and then realized it is like really bad MMO quests. So I just finished the story in 10 more hours. Because I was like, screw all the side stuff.
When I got to the point where I realized it was the end of the game, before that I was like, this is probably just like, because someone was telling me, I was like, yeah, there's a point where you can't really like do the open world stuff, and it kind of like tunnels. I was like, oh, okay. So I do this, and it tunnels, and it's. I was thinking it's similar to like that first portion in 12, where you go through, like you get captured, get sent to the prison, and then you have to work your way out. And you can't leave and do any of the side quest stuff because you're in that tunnel part. Yeah. That's what I compared it to. Something from the beginning of the fucking game where you're tunneled through and then you go back into the open world. No, it was just the end. And I was just like, that's the end?
Oh yeah, by the way, don't forget that in order to get the whole story, you have to buy the DLC that would come out bit by bit across the next year. Also watch the movie. Also read the manga. Also watch an OVA and read a book. And then you'll finally actually understand what happened.
Yep. Imagine if they did that with Final Fantasy 7.
Right. Crisis Core was completely additional stuff. Didn't need it. That was the big key difference.
Yeah, I got my own opinions about Crisis Core.
But people compare it to the Crisis Core thing. Crisis Core, you don't need any of that to understand 7.
Imagine if the flashback with Sephiroth wasn't actually in the game. It was just like an OVA. And you had no idea that happened.
Even worse, like a movie you had to buy.
All right. Yeah. Andrew, I'm saying this as a friend who loves you and cares about you. I will fucking end you.
That's about.
Imagine if they never mentioned Sephiroth until you got to the meteor or the crater.
Even better. That'd be great.
You just didn't know who he was. He was just the final boss.
Reunion. Well, then it wouldn't be a reunion.
That's seriously what 15 feels like, though.
It would just be a union. No, it's true though. I get
serious. They introduce a fucking character, they kill them off, and they're like, "Oh man, this is so terrible." And you're like, "I don't remember this dude's name."
I don't know who you are. Yeah, it happened. You know one thing that 15 has though?
I still don't know his name, by the way. It's what's her face's brother. I can't remember her name. She's the main character.
Lunafreya.
Yes.
I keep wanting to say
I never even finished the game. How the fuck did I remember that?
By the way, this is genuinely what Lunafreya does in that game.
We're done, by the way, right?
No. So,
we're still going.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's wrap this up because we're just gonna talk. We should just do a Final Fantasy 15 rant video.
After we're done with the podcast, you want to stick around and talk for a little bit?
I'm down.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This is a long one. I was excited. That was great. That was great.
Might need to crop out that 15 section.
That's good. All right. Have a good one. We'll see you all next time, whenever that is. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.